Return to Glory podcast. It's Halloween Eve, and the Huskers host UCLA on Saturday. Dak, you have a nice Halloween costume ready?
Thank you.
No, do you have one? Not are you?
Have one.
Oh yeah.
You aren't even wearing anything. What are you thinking?
I think you have a nice one on.
What are you wearing for Halloween tomorrow?
Do you want me to say what I said last night?
You say what you want.
What'd you say last night?
I'm be a lion.
You're gonna be a lion?
Yep. I won't say what I said last night. The whole world doesn't need to hear what I said last night.
So the first thing that popped in your head was you're gonna be a lion.
Yeah. Yep.
So I've been listening to Matt Rule talk. Be a lion.
Part of a lion.
Are you guys big candy giver outers on Halloween now that we're adults?
I try to be. The last 2 years, bought candy, 0 trick-or-treaters. So moved, new house, new location. I hear the neighborhood's bopping, so I bought 160 fruit snacks. So
Ooh.
we only get one kid that shows up. They're gonna have a real good night.
That's a dang good candy hand out.
I think so too.
What are you giving out?
I hope I have trick-or-treaters in my place. It's my first year by myself. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping.
You're in an apartment complex.
Yeah, well.
And you're probably going to give out one of your 15 bags of stale chips that you have in your cupboards.
Yeah, I do need to go get candy. We'll see if there's any left tomorrow after work. If not, I'm going to find something to hand out.
Just take it out of your big white van parked in front of your place.
Yeah. I actually will hand out single chips if I have to.
Well, this is what we talk about when Nebraska has a chance to go bowling on Saturday to get their 6th win of the year. I don't think anybody thought it was coming last week, and we got very, very close to beating Ohio State, but we didn't. And so now I would say our best chance based off of metrics and win probabilities is this upcoming week. But that's not to say we can't win the last 3. But our best chance definitely is this week at home against the Bruins, new to the Big Ten, new head coach. They are slowly playing better throughout the year. I would say that's the general consensus, but they are still 2-5 on the year. And it's supposed to be a little bit rainy on Saturday. With Austin, who does that benefit, do you think? I actually don't have an opinion on it, if it does.
I would probably say it benefits us because it forces them to run and we stop the run. I mean, their head coach used to be the running backs coach when Chip Kelly was there. So in theory, you'd think they have a decent running game, but I mean, that's what we stopped Ohio State's run game. I mean, that's kind of what we've been doing all year, except for against Indiana. So you kind of want to put them in a situation where they have to run, and we can lean into our strength.
Oof, I think it probably benefits them a little more because they have to run the ball. Their quarterback's awful. We'll get into him later, but I think it benefits them more because they have to run the ball. And yeah, boy, I don't know.
I don't know.
I really don't.
Different.
It's supposed to be windy too, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if it's supposed to be windy like it was yesterday here, and then today we got all the rain that we haven't gotten in the last 2 months here in Nebraska. But the conditions are going to have an effect on the football games somehow. So let's not have that be the reason that we are not going bowling. Here's the thing. This game needs to be our national championship because once you get this stupid bowl
eligibility off our shoulders, once the
elephant
monkey's
in
off,
the room, I think we take a big, deep, fresh breath of air and we can move on with our lives for the rest of the fall and then into next year. You don't win this game, and we talked about it a little bit before Indiana, you just start getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and you never know what's going to happen. And we've seen it happen before. So this game, let's put all the eggs, and you should be putting all your eggs into every game, but this is the huge one. And let's not build up pressure because of it. Let's win the week, take it day by day, play by play on Saturday.
Day by day.
Win the game 14-7, 10-7. I don't care what we have to do. It does not have to be pretty, but find a way to win the game, and then we can all breathe and talk
Party
about
like it's 2015.
what?
Party like it's 2015 after the game. Then
Party like it's 2015 before I was even 21.
I did just see. Apparently, UCLA averages like 64.6 rushing yards per game, which is the lowest nationally by 12 yards. So a game where they have to run the ball might be good for us.
see, I was looking at the running back stats, and they were not high at all. Their offense, I don't know what happened against Rutgers, but their offense is pretty bad. Maybe Rutgers is that bad, but they blew up in that game. I don't know what happened in that one. Hopefully they didn't find anything.
Well, let's do UCLA, I guess, first, mix it up a little bit this week. Normally we go through some of the key storylines around us here. Let's start with UCLA since we're rolling. Dak mentioned how much he just loves their quarterback, Ethan Garbers. He's completing 65% of his passes on the year. Again, they're 2-5. So if we go back and look at their schedule here and look who they played.
They actually had a pretty tough schedule early on. Indiana, LSU, Oregon, Penn State. That's pretty rough first 4 of your 5 games.
So they started against Hawaii on the road, squeaked out a win there. And then, Indiana, when nobody really knew what Indiana was, kind of got destroyed by them. Played at LSU, got beat. Played Oregon, got beat. Played at Penn State, got beat, all by 2 to 3 scores. Lost a close one against Minnesota, and then squeaked out a win against Rutgers. So you're right. The schedules has not been favorable. They are 2-5. Get their first conference win against Rutgers, which I don't know. I'm thinking that maybe Rutgers has gotten worse since we played them, but maybe they just weren't that good to begin with. But yeah, they played some tough teams. I think I saw something or heard something that UCLA and Nebraska have 2 of like the toughest schedules in the Big Ten from a metric standpoint. So take that for what it's worth. But it's a game that we're favored by 6.5 right now. I think the line opened more than a touchdown. It's squeezed down now to right below a touchdown at 6.5. It's a game that has a win or a game total of 41.5, which is pretty low given our past few games. I think that's basically where it's going to be in my mind. It might even be lower than that. So, okay, let's get back to Ethan Garbers. Dak, tell me everything you love about him.
Well, here's the first stat I saw. He has thrown a pick 6 in every game besides the game against Rutgers, which that's just terrible.
That's incredible. Like it's one thing to throw an interception every game, but to have it be returned to the house, like what bad luck.
Yeah, you got to think something. I've not gone back and watched all of Ethan Garbers' picks, I'll be honest, but you got to think some of them were just unlucky for pick 6. You get a bad bounce, it goes the other way.
You don't have a pick 6 in every game with it just being poor play. That has to bounce the wrong way.
Yeah, but then so his stats are 8 touchdowns, 9 picks on the year. That's with him going last game. Again, I don't know what the heck happened against Rutgers. I don't know if you guys watched it, but he went 32, 38, 300 something yards and 3 touchdowns, no picks. So his stats in the other games have been just terrible. But
like you said, the other games he was playing pretty good opponents.
Yeah. They have that was one thing about UCLA too. I was going to say, I think they are way better than what people think. just from the opponents they played. I mean, they've hung around with these teams. I can't. Was it Oregon they got demolished by?
And with Indiana.
Yeah, but that if I remember right, they hung around the Indiana game for a while.
And then like go forth.
It wasn't 56-7.
Yeah.
True.
Who played that game?
So UCLA's offensive yards per play right now. And okay, from a stat perspective, you hear a lot of people talk about this team ranks 74th nationally. Like, what does that mean? I do like that we're, as a society in college football, transferring a little bit more to yards per play, because I think points and scoring all is very possession based, which, given your tempo and what you run, it's hard to measure that across board. So yards per play, I think, is a really good stat to look at when you're talking about stats for offenses and defenses. So they have 5.2 offensive yards per play, which is 111th nationally, and they're allowing 5.6, which is 74th nationally. So again, stat wise, their numbers aren't great. Their turnover margin -7, which is 118th. We've seen that before. And their penalty yards is 71.3, which is 120th in
like work, isn't
the
it?
nation. So it's not good so far from a stats perspective. But again, remember the schedule. Their head coach is he's in first year head coach Deshaun Foster. Chip Kelly was just at Ohio State. And Deshaun Foster had one of the more memorable Big Ten Media Day press conferences when he introduced himself and basically had thought that nobody knew where UCLA was. And he's like, oh, we're UCLA. We're from Los Angeles. It was kind of funny. So that's their head coach. And I guess they're moving in the right direction. Their offensive coordinator, Austin, I think will know it. Dak, do you know who it is?
No, but I do want to say, before the podcast, I was asked by the coach. I was serious about Jim Moore. I was off by a couple of coaches.
Couple of years, yeah.
Yeah.
You know their offensive coordinator.
Do I?
Yep.
Don't. Give me about 10 seconds here. Let me
He was
think.
in the NFL. That's your.
And he was very good in the NFL.
Allegedly.
Not too long ago.
Give me the team.
What was your guess?
Give me the team.
They won Super Bowls recently in the NFL.
He last coached for the Commanders.
Well, he didn't play the Vikings. Oh boy. The last coach
for the Commanders.
He last coached on the Commanders. He wasn't the head coach.
Oh. RG3? No, I don't know.
Eric Bieniemy.
The enemy.
Oh, okay. Really?
Yep.
Huh.
Proving people wrong, trying to prove that Patrick Mahomes wasn't the reason for his success in Kansas City. So he flamed out in Washington and then moves to be the OC for a team that Chip Kelly abandoned to be an offensive coordinator.
And their offense has been awful.
Until last week.
Yeah. Maybe he found something out. I did not know that was their OC, huh?
Now, if you ask me who their defensive coordinator is, no way am I getting that one.
Here it is. Ikaike Malo.
Yeah.
He was the first-year coordinator last year, and they were 15th nationally in scoring defense. And now he's back as in a second year. So we're not going to see a whole lot of, I'll call them playmakers, I guess. They have a couple of running backs that do some things for them, but they're not a team that wants to run the ball very much. They do want to throw it more than anything. I mean, their leading rusher is TJ Harden, but he's averaging under 3 yards a carry. Their rushing offense, like you said, Austin, is one of the worst in the country. So
until last week.
So it does bode well for how our defense has played for the most part this year up front. I do think the team that is able to successfully use the play action in their tight ends, Fedoni, hopefully, is going to get an edge this game. I think that's a key because of the way the weather is going to be working out, and both teams are going to be keying on the run more so than anything. Nebraska got their run game going a little bit against Ohio State, and UCLA's strength of their defense is also stopping the run. So it makes it for an interesting matchup because of the weather, what both teams want to do, and what both teams are good at on the defensive side of the ball. So that's my take, I guess, how offensively, I mean, maybe we can go air it out and throw it 40 times, but I just don't think that's what we're going to do. And I don't think we should be doing that in rainy conditions. So I think we're going to try to establish the run. I think UCLA is going to try to establish the run. I think both teams are going to use play action. We might, we'll see. Well, let's ask this. Will we see the screen pass? And if so, how often?
I think you're still going to see it. You're probably not going to see 11 of them. Or, I don't know. I don't think that the media's attention to the screen pass is going to make them not throw it. Especially if it's rainy out, you're not going to be looking to throw it deep downfield.
We're talking about a guy that has rocks for brains. He's gonna run 15 screen pass. Like he's not. I don't think he changes a thing.
Okay, so you say that, Dak. Did anybody listen to Dylan Raiola?
Yeah, he's like, hey man, we're not executing. It's not Sad's fault, basically.
So
Yeah, but
Dylan came out and defends Satterfield and basically tells everybody they need to chill the
Shut
fuck
up.
down. Like,
Yep.
in a roundabout way, that's what he said. And I get it. Like, everyone can talk about that differently, but he didn't have to say anything about it. He came out and really did back up Satterfield. I liked that mindset. I think Dylan wants to be on a mission. I'll go back to it. He missed a couple of big throws in that game against Ohio State. That you make those, that gives you a lot better chance of winning that game. So I think his mindset's still in the right place, and it'll just be interesting to track that here from now until the end of the year, and I guess throughout his time at Nebraska, because he has a very winner championship-like mentality, the way he talks. And yeah, he's defending Satterfield to people like are all over the board on him. Dak's ready to fire him.
last year.
I will say with play calling, this is tough. Play calling is one thing that just gets slammed over and over, and everybody in the entire country, every Husker fan, thinks that they can call the plays better than the offensive coordinator. It's been since I can remember. So what's fun is, what would you run? Like, if you want to bash it, then you tell me, what would you run? Because here's the thing, calling plays, you have a game plan, you're kind of playing chess a little bit sometimes. You're setting things up to get other things to work. Yeah, and sometimes it does look miserably bad. And Satterfield does not have a good reputation. But what, in your guys' minds, like, what would you do as the offensive coordinator? Like, with the players that we have, with the system that you have, with your identity, like, what are you doing? That's the question to ask. Like, what would you change? And don't just tell me stop throwing screen passes. Like, what else are you running?
I said I don't have an issue with screen passes, but when it's 3rd and 8 and it's your 10th one of the game and you've gone a total of 20 yards running them, it's not working that game. That was my frustration. I like screen passes because there's high efficiency, but when the whole game it's proven that you can't have any success with it, you got to try something else.
And what you don't know is, maybe this is what I said, or what actually Jackson, who's been on the podcast, what he said, you never know if these screen passes are poised to set up for some of these deeper balls that we just missed. Like, you don't know if that's all part of the scheme. You wouldn't think
Right.
11 times it is, but I'm a big number screen pass type of guy. Obviously, to make it work, though, you have to be efficient and effective in your perimeter blocking, which we have not been, and we've shown not to be. And some of the players have been worse than others out there. But then you throw in some of the better players, then you're pretty predictable. So there's just so much going on when it comes to play calling, and everybody thinks they have the solution. until you ask them what the solution is. And then you start talking in circles because it's tough. It is difficult. So I will always defend play callers to a certain extent. Now, when it comes to maybe a specific like third and short from the third and 1 and you're in shotgun, like I have an issue with that. But when it comes to just generally calling a game from start to finish and what you think will work and doesn't work, I tend to side with the coordinators more so than anything.
Classic coach defending
And
coach.
Dak, I'm waiting for you to like jump in and try to like argue with me on this, but I think I've just shut you up because you have nothing.
There's one play, and I'll give you guys a guess at that. I want him to run.
Flea
I'll give you
flicker.
guys. Yes, for the love of God, run that, and I'll shut up about that for the rest of the year until he finally runs it. But
You don't have a counter argument.
I don't. I don't.
And so Dak, I'll speak the counter argument for you because I've heard the other side too. The counter argument is that Satterfield's never proven himself to be a good play caller anywhere he's been, and that South Carolina didn't want him, and we had to hire. We were paying him way more than we should be to call plays. Like that's the counter argument is he's never proven himself, and that might be a fair point because he hasn't. But I also don't think it's just fair not to give him a chance. But I will say, if things don't get better, yeah, you're probably looking at a different option because a coordinator position is easier to replace than the head coach position from a continuity standpoint. And then if you even want to go further down and look at position coaches, I'm not saying it pointing anybody out in particular, but like I think there's things that can get moved around if we don't see progress. Now, Ohio State, can we agree we saw progress?
Yes.
Now, it was some, like,
Yeah.
it didn't take much to see progress from what our offense was the first 6 games, but we did see some.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd definitely say we saw some progress. I mean, you look at like I said, we're not firing anyone yet. I know Dak wants to clean house the offensive side. Who would you even keep on the offensive side, Dak?
Oh,
Ron Brown? Can't get rid of him.
I don't know any other offensive coaches, but I would keep your O-line coach.
Is it not Garrett McGuire? What's McGuire? It is Garrett McGuire, isn't it? Wide receiver, like the 25-year-old.
Yeah, I would keep it. I'd keep everybody besides Satterfield. I think maybe your tight end coach. I don't know.
Satterfield. I'm pretty sure isn't Satterfield the tight end coach right now?
I think he is.
Well, there you go. See ya. So there you go. Nailed that one on the head. I did not know that. But yeah, I think your O-line. I would sure keep your O-line coach. I think they've improved the last 2 years.
Rayola's uncle.
Yep. I'd keep him in wide receiver coach. I just don't think wide receiver is that good, like skill wise.
Interesting.
So, what I guess on offense, wrap offense up here. What are our keys here for this week?
Bet the under, and I think limit turnovers and controlled time of possession. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and the more possessions you have, the better off you're going to be.
You're gonna want to establish a run for sure again.
Do we establish our run and air it out?
Yes, you. So what you do is establish the run, then you let Rail air it out. No, no. I just said how Satterfield's game plans are the same. I would do the same thing you did against Ohio State. Not on the dot, not on the dot, not lemon screens, but I think that was the best offense can look.
It's the best offense has looked since week 1.
For right
I
now.
need a mute button for Dak, like around the horn. Like when he just starts like talking out of both sides of his mouth, like, stop.
We'll work on that.
I didn't get 100 points there.
Oh my gosh.
Here's
That's
what
the
I would,
Halloween pod where we all dressed up like people from around the horn. Missed our
Yeah.
opportunity.
I need the Woody Page
Yes, the chalkboard.
quote in the background. I want Dylan Raiola to show that he can run the ball 2 weeks in a row. I don't want that to be a fluke thing. The comments about it by Satterfield were weird. The comments about it by Dylan were weird. It made it sound like that it wasn't even talked about like before the game, which is just odd to me. Like Dylan just said, I'm going to do this because I think I can do it. Like I don't even want to think about that because it makes me uncomfortable with how our like why was that a thing the first half of the season. But I want to see him do it again. Like it was effective. And if you do it again, teams really have to start preparing for it. You know UCLA is thinking about it, right? They're saying, all right, Dylan showed he can run a little bit. How if he starts doing this, how are we countering that? That's what I want to see out of our offense specifically, is not saying designed runs, but just that elusiveness again from Raiola 2 weeks in a row that adds another element to our offense. And I'm going to say it, I want to see screen passes work. And I think that's a good game to do it on, and scheme with the right guys to get them to be effective. I think that's a very effective play in my mind. Just again, what I would run for an offense, it would involve a lot of count the numbers, screen plays, and man on man, find the blocks and make the play, but you have to execute it for it to be effective. So that's my big thing offensively. Got to do it again. Have to be consistent and do it again. What we saw, the step forward in Ohio.
Gosh, we would just be sick to our stomach if we hopped on this pod on Sunday after losing to UCLA. Oh my gosh. I know it's totally possible.
We've done it before.
But you just hate to be like, oh man, Indiana was a fluke, and then come out play really well against number 4 Ohio State, and then just drop the ball against UCLA. Ugh.
Would you guys be more? I think you guys were for sure. Hunter was sad after Indiana. Would you guys be more sad if you lost to UCLA, let's say by 10, than after the Indiana game pod?
I'd probably be more sad, less disgusted. I was disgusted after the Indiana game.
I didn't feel anything.
Well, it's probably because you were sitting out in 40-degree weather.
What?
You were sitting outdoors in the rain.
When we did the pod, yeah.
Oh, on the Monday, yeah. I was
Yeah.
going to say, like after the game, the Indiana game, I did not feel emotion for like 24 hours. I think that's how I felt. I will say losing by now. If we get beat at home by UCLA 42-10,
Everything's on the table.
yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. But I will say, like, this game, we've seen it all, right? As Husker fans, at least we think we have. So let's
We
just
haven't seen us win.
not in convincing fashion. So that's what I think the goal is here. Okay, defensive side of the ball. Again, can we do it again? That's like my line of the week. Can our defensive line once again play well like we have for a majority of the year, but be consistent up front? And we saw that again against Ohio State. Did a really good job of getting pressure, and we were not giving Will Howard any time to hit his playmaker wide receivers. UCLA has given up, I had it pulled up, 20-some sacks on the year, 23, I think, sacks in the year. We need to take advantage of that and force turnovers. Like Austin said early on, obviously offense, let's not turn it over, but defensively, let's force turnovers. Let's win the turnover margin. We're doing a good job of that this year as a team. Like, we're not talking about it in a negative way. So that's huge. This game, that might be a deciding factor on the outcome given the conditions. So, like, defensive line, let's do it again. That's going to be huge to stop the run early. get the crowd behind us to show, nope, this is the defense that we want to rally behind. That's the biggest thing for me, especially early.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't, I admittedly have not watched a single UCLA game.
Me either.
I forget they're in the Big Ten half the time. What game? This is off subject. USC, who did they play last week where the game got over at like 1 a.m.?
Hell if I know. I wasn't.
All I know is that's ridiculous. Anyway,
Oh, they played Rutgers, didn't they? Friday
yeah,
night. Yeah.
UCLA, yes. Yeah. So like it would have been like 3 a.m. like Rutgers time.
Yep.
Or whatever. Yeah. Way too late. Yes. I don't know if you look at the sacks and the rushing numbers, if that's just a product of them having a bad offensive line. Again, have not watched a single UCLA snap. I would suspect, if you've given up 20 sacks and you're only averaging 2.5 yards a carry, your O-line's not great, which I hope plays in really well to our D-line being arguably the strength of our whole team. But yeah, I agree. Just stuff the run, make Ethan Garber beat you with his arm. He cooked Rutgers last week with it, but he also had a little bit of a complimentary run game with a 100-yard rusher. So, you want to turn over, you want to increase your possessions and control the ball. So get them out on short 3-and-outs and get turnovers. And I think we win. I really do.
You want to. Boy, their offense, their run game and pass game is so bad. I don't know which one you want to do. You want them to throw the ball, because if they run the ball, yeah. If it's raining, if they run the ball, they can control the clock, control the game better. You for sure want to stack the box, make them throw the ball with Garber, and hopefully get another pick six on him. You're shooting for give up less than 17 points to this team. I think that's a pretty good goal. I would be shocked if they scored more than 17 this game.
I say really you're worried about Keegan Jones probably, and that's about it. Their tight end maybe Maliki Mataveo. I mean, those are really their two offensive weapons, and even then, you're not scared of them.
Now, yeah, I mean, Rico Flores is another, Logan Loya, a couple of their wide receivers that have shown to have some explosiveness. But I agree. It's not like we're playing Ohio State with all this talent. So the biggest thing, and this is the whole talk, and I think it's something that doesn't get talked about enough, but it's a reality, is the mindset of the players going into a game and getting them, I say going into the game from a whole week standpoint, your preparation, how you practice, and then when it actually gets time to the game, like where's their head at? That's coaching 101 to begin with. And I feel like that's something that really good coaches know how to control. This team is not the same talented level of team. We played as Ohio State. We played Ohio State with nothing to lose. We played free. We played loose. We played schematically like, all right, well, we're going to try this. If it doesn't work, it's because they have better talented players than us. Well, but guess what? When you kind of go out and play loose and you're not overthinking everything from a play calling standpoint, but also then from a execution standpoint, things start to work and click. So I think that's the mindset that we have to get instilled in a game like this, like not know we're better than this team, so we're going to go out, and if we just play well, we're going to win. That's not the right mindset to have. That's what we tried to do against Indiana, and look what happened. I think we have to go into the game thinking, no, this is like Ohio State. This is our Super Bowl. This is our national championship. Let's do everything we can to treat these guys like they are the best team ever, and let's go out and kick their butt.
I agree. Destroy them. That would be great. Ooh, a blowout for bowl eligibility?
Now, on the flip side, how bad are you going to be sweating after if they lose the UCLA making a bowl game?
You're sweating. The pressure, because
we'll talk about that Sunday.
Yeah. Pressure starts to build up a little bit, and the opponents get a little bit better.
Oh, yeah. We'll wait.
Last thing I want to see, can we do it again? it was weird last week. We all said it, just out of the blue, out of nowhere. John Hull comes in and drills 3 field goals. Not sure how that happened, but it did. Now the conditions are going to be different. It's not just been him missing kicks. It's been our hold. It's been our snap. It's been a lot of things. Let's not make the weather an excuse. If we're given the opportunity to kick, let's take advantage of it and make the kick. Let's do it again. Let's be consistent week after week. Let's not have these roller coasters like we've had the past few weeks and leave us all confused. Maybe that we should get used to it, but the more consistent we can be, the better. That's the last thing that like I'm watching is, if we're down and we have a 37-yard field goal and let's say the ball's a little slick, like what are we doing? Are we now just all confident that Hull can make these because he drilled 3 of them? I don't know. You just said that a week ago. You just said we're not even going to attempt to kick this game at all because we haven't shown we can make one in dry conditions, let alone this. And now we've made 3. Are we going to go out and try to attempt a 48-yarder now? That's fascinating to me. I don't know. I wouldn't, but maybe we want. I don't know. That's a big question mark here as in a game like this.
I think Rule's gonna ride the confidence of last week, and I think he's gonna put him out there for anything within 50. I really do.
Conditions that's what's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that you aren't confident in him making any kick yet. You're still 100% nervous about it. Now, if you see back weeks and even okay, this guy's actually figured it out, but I don't know. I feel like his kick in that game could have been a fluke, like UCLA's game against Rutgers was a fluke.
True. Before we do score predictions, I have an issue. Why haven't we gotten our chasing? It pisses me off that we don't do chasing 3 episodes after a loss. What a cowardly freaking move. You got to show the ups and the downs, man.
So we haven't done one, have we, since Rutgers?
We have not since we lost to Indiana. And when we lost to Illinois, they lumped it in with the Rutgers one. I'm not impressed.
So I'll be honest, I don't watch those I'll see highlights and clips of it on Twitter, but I'm not watching the episode from start to finish.
Yeah, I'm not upset that they aren't putting the episodes out. I'm upset that they don't do it after a loss.
Yes. I've always wondered this. How integrated is the decision making and the videography and all of that with the coaching staff? It's hard to know.
I mean, they blur stuff out, so I'm assuming the coaching staff watches the whole thing and approves it.
Right? But is the coaching staff I'm sure they're not saying, hey, we should be posting stuff after wins or after losses. It's probably whoever the team is that's doing it, deciding that. But I agree. I mean, that sucks, I guess. I mean, it does. What you want to build a winning culture and a mindset, and that's the impression you're giving off that, you lose and let's hide that. Let's not show that. Versus the lessons learned from it. I agree that is a little bit.
They keep talking about, oh man, last week, oh, it was the hardest week. They were all geared up all week. I don't fucking know. You didn't show me a single clip.
Social media and some things like that are a problem just in general. I've always said that.
Yeah.
It's nice to have, but
I have zero clue what chasing 3 is. Absolutely no clue.
It's the YouTube videos that they've been putting out.
Couldn't tell you.
Oh,
hey,
boy.
You guys want a genius? Is a little bit off topic, but a genius with technology and social media and all that. A genius, call it a day at Memorial Stadium or Pinnacle Bank Arena or at a Celtics game is a no phone day. I think that would get a lot of traction. This game, you cannot use your phones at all, and all you're focused on is cheering as loud as you can for the whole game.
That'd be awesome.
And interacting with everybody around you, enjoying that moment to the point where, if someone has their phone out, you're just shaming them, put it away. Now, there's emergencies.
Yeah.
So
I think it would work better at basketball, volleyball, just because it's a quicker paced game. Football, there's so much downtime.
yeah, I think that's an excuse. I think it's an excuse. I think it'd be very effective in a football game just to show that people like we can enjoy the game. Now, make it
who you're talking to, Hunter. I don't even have a smartphone. This is what I do.
I was gonna say that. Sometimes I'm jealous of you, Austin, for having a flip phone. It's got to be awesome. So, like most of the time, I don't. Twitter, I can live without, but everything else I could.
It is pretty nice until you get lost, or you need, like anymore. Now you have to use your QR codes for.
Yeah, you have to use a map.
If I get lost, I either use I have an atlas, or I have to phone a friend. Be like, hey, I'm at mile marker 431 on Highway 74. I think I missed my turn. Yeah,
I'm joking. I couldn't live without an iPhone. No shot.
I was like, you wouldn't make it a day.
I could make it a day without my phone.
I don't believe it. Just like you could make it a half marathon on Sunday.
Okay, yeah.
Dak, you said you had a question for us at the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah. Is this a must-win or can't-lose game for the Huskers?
They're the same thing.
No, I think they're different.
What is it?
I think of them the same thing. You've asked me this before, and they're the exact same thing. They mean the exact same thing in my mind.
I feel like can't lose implies that you're favored to win and you lost the game. Like you should have won this game. Must win is, yeah, you might not win this game, but you need to win this game.
I feel like the Yankees-Dodgers game tonight was a must-win for the Yankees.
Well,
shit, because if you can't lose and they're done. Like, that's the whole point.
Yeah, that one's a little different.
Well,
your logic sometimes.
So must-win then.
It's a can't lose.
I'm with you. It's definitely can't lose.
Okay, score predictions.
We know it's going to rain. And we know we're going to want to run the ball. I'm going to go 20-10 Nebraska.
Give me 14-7 Nebraska. Just muck it up.
Yeah.
Muck it up. 14-7. Win the game. Gonna be ugly.
I'll go.
Here comes the high score.
I'll go 21-10 Nebraska. I said 31-10. What do you think? 30 minutes ago? Now it's 21-10 Nebraska.
Tomorrow it'll be 11.
After talking through it a little bit more, I'm down 21-10. I think UCLA is better than what people think.
I agree.
And with that line dropping from 9, I don't know if it was ever 9.5. I heard it was 9.5 on Sunday to 6.5 now.
I think it opened at 9.5.
Yeah, now it's dropped 3 points, so that's a lot of money going on UCLA.
9.5 is insane for an offense that doesn't score 20 points a game.
Yeah, but is their offense going to be able to score 10?
They looked real good against Rutgers, and we did not.
Whose offense would you? I mean, I guess they just played. Is better, Rutgers or UCLA's?
I'd say
probably UCLA's. I'd say
UCLA's.
That's what's hard. Maybe up 35 to Rutgers.
Right. That's also true.
It's just so hard. Like this year, especially, it's so hard to compare team to team on scores and what they did. It's none of that has proven to be right, or very little of it has. So that's why it's so important just to take it week by week and just say, okay, this is the Super Bowl. I said that like 4 times now, but that's what this group needs to think of it as this week to get a win. So, okay. Oh, by the way, the game is not on ESPN Plus. on my background.
What is it on Fox?
I
Actually,
don't know which channel it's on.
this was an old graphic somewhere on YouTube that I found, or Google. So that way people aren't looking on ESPN Plus to find the game.
Couldn't tell you what it's on. I probably won't even watch it. I have a Catholic wedding during the game, so
Ooh.
yep.
You'll have your phone out. You're a true fan.
I won't. I probably will. They take
You'll
forever.
probably have your phone out as much as you had your phone out for the OU game last week, which was
None.
you didn't even care because you're not a fan of them.
No, I told you I didn't want to look.
No, you're not a fan.
We'll see next week.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, we'll be back Sunday. Hopefully, good news. Going to a bowl game. Fingers crossed.
Whoa, wait.
Oh, geez.
I got some picks.
Oh, yeah, well, you do. Go ahead.
All right, I'll fire these off here. We'll go Indiana -8 over Michigan State. Washington +2.5 against USC. Texas A&M -2.5 against South Carolina. Arizona State -3 against Oklahoma State. Penn State +3 against Ohio State. Duke +20 against Miami. Ole Miss -7 against Arkansas. Army -2 against 22 against Air Force. Florida +16.5 against.
Georgia.
I put against Florida. Okay, Georgia. Nebraska -6.5 against UCLA. My lock of the week is I didn't pick one here. Let's go. Oh boy. Let's go. Army -22 against Air Force.
I like it. I like a lot of those, Dak. I really do. Listening to them.
That Nebraska one is almost a lock. I think they win by 7 or more.
New graphic on Twitter, by the way, this week coming out for your picks. So,
I don't want to see that. I don't want to
check it out.
This. Was it taken this weekend?
No.
Okay, good.
All right. Be back Sunday. Go Red.
Go Red. GBR.
Over sooner.
No, you're not a fan. Quit saying that.
We're going to the game next weekend.